So House of the Dragon Season 3 is here. And Episode 1 came out swinging so hard that I genuinely think a lot of people were not prepared for what they watched. The Battle of the Gullet was everything. And now we have the trailer for Episode 2 dropping, and it is absolutely loaded. We are talking grief, revenge, dragon fire, power grabs, and the beginning of what looks like a very different Rhaenyra Targaryen than the one we have spent the last 2 seasons watching try to hold herself together. There is a lot to unpack here, so let us get into it. And if you are new here and you want more breakdowns like this every single week as the season rolls out, now would be the perfect time to subscribe and hit that bell so you do not miss a single one. I drop these the moment new trailers and episodes hit, so you want to be here for it. Alright, so the trailer opens on the aftermath of the Battle of the Gullet, and right away you get a sense of just how heavy this episode is going to feel. We are looking at the wreckage of ships still burning in the bay, there are bodies in the water, debris everywhere. Caraxes and Daemon appear to be moving through what remains of the Triarchy fleet, and it is essentially a cleanup operation at this point. Remember, the Triarchy numbered around 350 ships, all taking their direction from Laena, and with her gone, that entire armada has no unified command. 3 cities, Myre, Tyrosh, and Lys, all with different agendas and no one to steer the ship, so to speak. Baela on Moondancer is still out there mopping things up, and you can already see in the way she carries herself on her dragon that something is deeply, deeply wrong. She is not celebrating, she is not triumphant, she is shattered. And then the trailer hits you with it. We see Baela bringing Jace's body back to Dragonstone. She lands at the Dragonmont, which is where the dragons roost, right alongside Dragonstone itself. We have seen it before. And then we hear Rhaenyra's voice, raw and cracked open, asking, "Jace, what have you done?" And the thing about that line is the way it is delivered. It sounds less like anger and more like disbelief. Like her mind is refusing to accept the information her eyes are giving her. She has been here before. After Lucerys died, she went silent. She disappeared. She fell into grief so deep that the entire Black Cause lost momentum for weeks. Daemon was furious about it. And now here she is, standing at the Dragonmont, looking at another dead son. What really makes this scene land hard is thinking about how differently these 2 deaths are going to affect her. Lucerys' death broke her into pieces and made her retreat. But everything we see in this trailer suggests that Jace's death is going to do something completely different. It is going to light something inside her. Something cold. Something purposeful. Something that the people around her, including her enemies, should be afraid of. And based on what we see later in this trailer, that transformation is already underway by the time Episode 2 ends. Now before we move forward, if you have not already subscribed, do it right now. I am going to be doing full episode breakdowns, trailer analysis, and deep theory videos all the way through Season 3, and you do not want to be catching up late. Hit subscribe. It genuinely helps more than you know. Back to the trailer. We also get a shot of Baela, and she looks absolutely gutted. She is carrying the weight of what happened on her shoulders, and she is not entirely wrong to feel that way, even if the full responsibility does not sit with her alone. What happened at the Gullet was chaos. Rhaenyra came in on Sheepstealer, a wild dragon that had never had a rider, and the dragon panicked. He did not know the difference between friend and foe. He was terrified, and he was trying to protect Rhaenyra in the only way a dragon knows how. The showrunners have talked about wanting you to feel some sympathy for Sheepstealer because he was not malicious. He was a wild creature dropped into the middle of a naval battle on his very first day with a rider. And that chaos forced Jace and Vermax to fly too low, right into the range of the Triarchy crossbows. That is how Vermax went down. That is how Jace died. So who do you blame? Rhaenyra, who was trying to help. Jace, who pushed for all of this and locked Rhaenyra in her chambers. Sheepstealer, who was just a terrified drag. There is no clean answer, and I think that ambiguity is going to simmer through Episode 2 and beyond. We also get a glimpse of Rhaenyra herself on Dragonstone after the battle, and she looks devastated. She knows what her dragon caused. She knows people are dead because of the chaos Sheepstealer created, and she is probably dreading what Rhaenyra is going to say to her or do to her. This is actually a fascinating situation when you think about it, because Daemon would likely be proud that Rhaenyra bonded with Sheepstealer at all. That is an enormous achievement, but Jace is also dead in large part because of what happened when that bond was tested in real combat for the first time. Daemon is going to have to hold 2 very contradictory feelings at the same time, and that is before we even get to how he handles Rhaenyra's grief. And speaking of Daemon, there is a scene in this trailer that I think is one of the most quietly disturbing things we have seen from his character in the entire run of this show. We see him at Rhaenyra's bedside while she is crying, clearly the night after she receives the news about Jace, and he says, "Will you let him die in vain?" Now on the surface, that sounds like he is motivating her, trying to pull her back from the edge of despair like he did after Lucerys. But watch the framing of that moment. He is not comforting her. He is leveraging her grief. He is using the death of her son as a tool to push her toward what he wants, which is the Iron Throne, King's Landing, and war. He does not give her a night to fall apart. He immediately starts stoking the fire. And here is my theory on this, and I think it matters for understanding the whole arc of Season 3. A large part of what Rhaenyra becomes this season, the colder, harder, more ruthless version of herself we keep seeing flashes of in this trailer, is Daemon's creation. He shapes her grief into a weapon. He tells her that justice is possible if she takes it. He tells her that her boys died for a reason, and she owes it to them to finish what they started. And she starts to believe it. She starts to believe it so completely that by the time we get to the later episodes, she is talking about the Iron Throne like it is her divine right, like she was prophesied to sit on it. Like stopping the Long Night itself depends on the right person ruling Westeros, and that is where it gets dangerous because as George R.R. Martin has said many times across all of his work, prophecy is almost always a trap. People who start believing they are destined for something stop asking whether what they are doing is right, and start asking whether it is necessary. Now let us talk about the Greens, because this trailer gives us a lot from that side of the conflict too. We get a significant amount of screen time with Ormond Hightower, Alicent's first cousin, and the Lord of Oldtown, who is marching north toward King's Landing, with somewhere around 15,000 soldiers behind him. He is Team Green in the most fervent possible sense. This is not a man who is cautious about his allegiances or ambivalent about what he is doing. He says in the trailer that his purpose is to restore the rightful line to the Iron Throne, by which he means the Hightower bloodline, the line that runs through Alicent and her children. He is also essentially the last significant military force left standing on the Green side at this point, which makes him enormously important to the whole second half of the season. There is also this genuinely strange little moment in the trailer where he appears to be inhaling something from what looks like a small container or ball, and it was the same kind of thing we saw with him in Episode 1. I have no idea what that is, and neither does anyone else with certainty, but it is such a specific, deliberate character choice that it has to mean something. Is it some kind of medicinal or recreational substance? Is it something ritualistic? Whatever it is, they keep showing it, so it is going to matter. We see Ormond at what appears to be Tumbleton, the town that seems to function as the Green military base for the back half of this season. We see him addressing his men. We see him riding through his forces as they prepare for battle. And we hear him say things like, "We will fight on our own terms," and the patient hunter gets the kill, which tells you a lot about how he operates. He is not a reckless commander. He is methodical. He believes in timing and positioning, and based on what happens historically in this conflict, he is going to get his moments, though they will not all go the way he wants. We also see Aemond in this trailer, and he is having his own kind of season. He and Vagar arrive at Harrenhal, and he is burning things. He has his Valyrian steel sword. He has the Valyrian dagger on his hip, the one he took, and he seems to be on a mission to root out any remnants of the Blacks who were stationed there when Daemon held the castle. There is something a little performative about it though. Harrenhal is mostly empty at this point. Daemon is gone. The Strongs are scattered. You can kill everyone you find there, and it does not move the battle lines 1 inch. Rhaenyra does not care what Aemond does at Harrenhal, but Aemond cares. He cares because it feels like conquest. It feels like he is reenacting Aegon the Conqueror's burning of Harrenhal with Balerion the Black Dread, and he is doing it with his own dragon, with his own sword, in his own name. And that name situation is fascinating and worth paying attention to. He has declared himself king, not regent, not hand, king, even though Aegon is still technically alive and has not formally abdicated the throne. That is a bold, legally dubious move that tells you everything about where Aegon's head is at. He does not see himself as a placeholder. He sees himself as the rightful ruler, and he is going to behave accordingly for the rest of this season. We also hear him saying things like Rhaenyra is no queen, and a new dawn is coming, and she will certainly fail. And while he says this, the trailer cuts to Alicent standing in King's Landing watching dragons fly toward the dragon pit, and she looks terrified, not excited, not hopeful, terrified, because she has watched both of her boys become versions of themselves she never wanted, and she knows that what is coming is not a new dawn, it is a storm. Then there is Aegon. Our boy is still alive and is currently in the absolute worst shape of his life. We see him and Lara Strong apparently escaping from the people who were transporting them, and it looks like they fight their way out. Aegon is in pain, burned and battered, but he manages to get free. And then we hear him say, "Every one of my miseries is of his making, and I swear I am going to find him and kill him." He is talking about Aemond. There is zero ambiguity there, and you understand it. Aemond dropped a building on him. Aemond burned him. Aemond took his throne. The rage is legitimate even if Aegon is not exactly a sympathetic figure. But here is the really interesting part of the Aegon storyline this season. Later in the trailer, there is a shot where Aegon seems to be looking up at something in the sky, with genuine shock on his face. And based on the gold of what he is staring at, the working theory is that this is Sunfire, his dragon. The dragon that was catastrophically wounded at the Battle of Rook's Rest. One of Sunfire's wings was badly damaged in that fight, which means the dragon cannot fly, but that does not mean the dragon is dead. And if Aegon has found Sunfire, if his dragon is still alive and healing somewhere, that changes his entire situation. A king without a dragon is just a man with a claim. A king with a dragon, even a grounded one, has something to build on. The fire in Aegon's eyes after that moment, if that is what he is seeing, is going to be something. Now let us get to the big stuff, because the back half of this trailer is essentially a highlight reel for the rest of Season 3, and it is giving a lot away while still managing to keep the most important things mysterious. We see Rhaenyra, Daemon, and what looks like all of the available dragon riders and their mounts heading to King's Landing, and it is a serious show of force. You have got multiple dragons in the air. The city is essentially going to open up, because Alicent, as we know, made a choice in Season 2 to let this happen. She wanted the war to end. She wanted the killing to stop. So the gates are going to open and the blacks are going to walk in. But here is the thing about Rhaenyra in this moment. She is not the Rhaenyra who wanted peace negotiations anymore. She is not the woman who refused to burn the city. The trailer keeps showing us these flashes of her burning green banners inside the Red Keep, and there is even a shot that looks like she might be burning someone's actual bed. She is tearing the green legacy out of every room she walks into. She is heard saying inside the small council chamber, "I am my father's heir." And Daemon says to her as they are making their way through the Red Keep, past guards they are cutting down on the way, "This is the moment you become queen." And you feel the weight of that line, because it is both true and not true at the same time. She is about to sit on the Iron Throne, but the person who sits on it is not quite the same Rhaenyra who started this war. We also get a really compelling scene involving the dragon seeds. We see Ulf the White, Hugh Hammer, and Adam of Hull all on their knees in front of Rhaenyra and Daemon. And this is almost certainly the moment they are being knighted for their role in taking King's Landing. They helped, they bled for the black cause, they deserve recognition, but then the trailer shows something that stopped me cold. Some of the other dragon riders look at Ulf with visible alarm. They turn and stare at him, and Daemon puts his hand on his sword, which tells you that something Ulf has said or done in that moment has crossed a line. And if you are paying attention to where the seeds of betrayal are being planted, this might be it. Ulf has been loud about wanting a castle, not a knighthood, not a title without land. He wants to be a lord. He wants wealth and power to match the dragon he rides. And if Rhaenyra gives him a sword tap on the shoulder and calls it a day, that is going to fester. My personal theory on this, and I want to be clear, this is theory territory, is that the moment of betrayal might be slightly restructured from the source material in a way that focuses the audience on Hugh as the primary instigator, but does not completely absolve Ulf. They have already shown us Hugh being ungrateful and restless in Episode 1. The seeds are there, and I think the show is going to let that grow in a way that feels character-driven rather than just plot-driven. Keep watching both of them. There is also a really striking sequence in the trailer involving Alicent. We hear her voiceover saying the crown is a weight that crushes, and then separately, Rhaenyra will do in the end what she has to do, and what she has to do will be dire. Alicent is the only person in this entire story who has watched both sides of this war from the inside. She knows what it does to people. She has watched her son Aegon be consumed by it and come out the other side burned and broken. She has watched Aemond name himself king and become something cold and hungry and dangerous. She has watched Rhaenyra lose 2 children and start to transform, and she sees where this is all going. There is a scene that looks like Alicent is inside the Red Keep with Rhaenyra, and this is a remarkable thing if that is what it is. Alicent, who worked against Rhaenyra for years, who was the architect of so much of the Green Cause, even if she would argue she never wanted any of this, sitting in the same room having a real conversation. And what she says is quietly devastating. She is essentially warning Rhaenyra that sitting on that throne is not going to feel the way she thinks it will. That ruling through grief and rage leads somewhere dark. That the things she will have to do to hold on to what she has taken will cost her more than she is ready to pay. There is also a shot of what appears to be Alicent in a cloak at night, possibly traveling to Harrenhal. We know from other trailer footage that she told Aemond she would come to, so that journey might happen this season. What happens when she gets there and realizes what Aemond has become while she was away? That is going to be one of the emotional centerpieces of this season. The Battle of Tumbleton looms large over the entire second half of the trailer. We see Ormond's forces massed outside the town. We see what looks like the Winter Wolves, Northmen fighting for Rhaenyra's side, pounding their shields and getting ready to charge. We see what looks like dragonfire raining down. We see Daemon with Caraxes and what looks like Silverwing behind him, squaring off in what might be the battle itself. This is going to be one of the largest set pieces of the season, possibly the whole series at this point. multiple dragons, two significant armies, and outcomes that are going to reshape the entire endgame. There is one line in this trailer that I keep coming back to, and it is delivered over footage of burning tents and falling soldiers and widespread devastation. Someone says, "You can burn us and you can kill us, but you will never make us embrace her," and that line is doing a lot of work. Because it is not just about military resistance. It is about legitimacy. It is about the fact that even with all of her dragons, even with King's Landing taken and the Iron Throne within reach, Rhaenyra is not universally accepted as queen. There are people, a lot of people, who would rather die than call her that. And as the small folk of King's Landing start to turn against her, as the gold cloaks get set loose on the streets, as the violence of her reign starts to reach people who never wanted any part of this war, that resistance is going to grow. The trailer even seems to show the gold cloaks roughing up ordinary people in the streets of King's Landing, which would be a massive driver of popular resentment. There is also a gorgeous haunting shot of Hela somewhere near the end of the trailer, with strange light falling across her face as she looks up at something. And this one I have been thinking about a lot. It could be that she is looking at Dreamfire, her dragon. The actress who plays Hela Sun has said she would love more scenes with Dreamfire, and maybe that wish was granted, but the way that shot is lit, the way it is framed, the quietness of it, it feels like a farewell, like a person at peace in a way they only get when they have made a decision about something. Hela Sun has been deteriorating since Blood and Cheese. She never really recovered from what happened to her son. The war, the loss, the isolation, it has all been compounding. And based on what we know about where her story goes, this could be the episode or the moment that the show chooses to bring that chapter to its conclusion. If they handle it with the care that shot suggests, it could be one of the most powerful scenes of the entire series. And then the trailer ends where the season is heading. Rhaenyra and Daemon stand in the throne room. Green guards are dead on the floor around them. The Iron Throne is right there, and she says, "I wear my father's crown. My enemies will not deny me my right." And that is Rhaenyra Targaryen, at the end of a very long road, standing at the place she has been trying to reach since before the war even started, and saying it out loud. "This is mine. You tried to take it from me. You killed my sons. You burned my allies and my friends and my family, and I am still here." The transformation that this trailer is tracking across Rhaenyra's character is the real story of Season 3. It is not just the battles, it is not just the dragons. It is watching someone who started out wanting to rule with wisdom and care and mercy start to believe that the only way to hold power is to become the thing she was trying to defeat. And whether that makes her a villain or a tragedy or something more complicated than either of those words, that is the question this season is being built to make you wrestle with. This is going to be the best season of this show. Full stop. The scale is there, the emotional stakes are there, everything that Season 2 was setting up is about to pay off in ways that are going to have people talking all year. Drop everything you are thinking in the comments below. Who do you blame for Jace's death? Do you think Ulf or Hugh cracks first? What do you think Aemond is going to dream about in that weirwood bed at Harrenhal? And what does Aegon actually do when he finds his brother? I want all of it down there. My full episode 2 breakdown will go up the moment the episode drops, so make sure you are subscribed and have notifications on so you catch it the second it is live. And if you want to go back and check out my episode 1 breakdown in the meantime, that link is right here. Thank you so much for watching. See you for episode 2.